Why should containers run as non-root users? Because a single misconfigured container running as root can give attackers the keys to your entire host system. The foundation is the principle of least privilege. Your container should only have the minimum permissions it needs to do its job. If your application just serves web traffic, why does it need root access? Running as a non-root user means the container process can't modify system files, install packages, or access sensitive resources it doesn't need. This dramatically limits what an attacker can do if they compromise your application. Here's the scary part. Container isolation isn't perfect. If an attacker finds a kernel vulnerability or misconfiguration, they can escape the container. When that happens, the user ID inside the container becomes their user ID on the host. If your container runs as root user ID 0, the attacker gets root on your host machine. Game over. But if your container runs as user ID 1000, the escaped process has almost no privileges on the host. The blast radius is contained. Running as non-root reduces your attack surface in multiple ways. Attackers can't bind to privileged ports below 1024. They can't access Docker socket or other sensitive host resources. And many exploits simply fail because they assume root access. You're eliminating entire categories of attacks before they can even execute. So how do you implement this? In your Dockerfile, add a UCR directive after installing dependencies. This tells Docker to switch to that user before running your application. In Kubernetes, set run as non-root true in your pod security context. This enforces the policy at the orchestration layer. These practices align with CIS Kubernetes benchmarks and pod security standards. They're not optional anymore. They're table stakes for production workloads. Bottom line, non-root containers follow least privilege, prevent host compromise during escapes, and cut your attack surface in half. It's a simple change that dramatically improves your security posture. Want to nail questions like this in your next interview? Interview Mentor gives you hands-on practice with real questions. Every answer gets a grade with specific, personalized feedback. Track your progress across topics and difficulty levels.